Hello, this is Jason with Online Strategy Podcast, and today I am going to be talking about online reviews, particularly online reviews related to dental practices. So, if you've been using the internet at all for your practice, whether you're the owner, office manager, assistant, receptionist, anything like that, you know that online reviews are relevant and important today. Not every review platform is equal. We all know this as well. For example, Facebook, Google, and Yelp have tremendous weight and credibility. You also have third-party review websites and places like Healthgrades that also can give some credibility, but they're not necessarily as personalized. And a lot of consumers know that a lot of reviews are solicited and marketed for on those third-party platforms, so they're not as credible for a lot of modern consumers today. So to get reviews, there's many ways that you can do this, and we work with practices that virtually use every type and method of getting reviews and getting them in an ethical way, you could say, and a way that does not subject them to the terms and conditions of Google or Yelp or Facebook, whereas reviews all of a sudden start going missing because their policy was abused in some way. So basically, being at the front desk, for example, is really the best place to request a review or to get a review, because the front desk, generally speaking, knows the clientele very well. They know the families that are coming in, they know the individuals in the families, they know the people that are coming in and out. And they can generally tell if their experience was pleasant or not by simply asking, how was your experience? How was your appointment today? And just by that, you can automatically determine if the person was happy or not. And then from there, you can suggest or request that person leave a review. Now, it's not as simple as, can you go leave us a review online? Because once the person gets in their car and they leave, a lot of times they forget about it or something. So the successful ways that we've consulted our clients on how to get reviews and what's been successful for dental practices specifically has been sending a text message with a quick link that leads directly to the review sources such as Google, Yelp, Facebook. It gives the person the option to leave a review on any of those platforms as they wish. This gives your client the discretion of choice where they want to leave a review, and it gives them some option on it too. So the main point is you generally want to ask your public, your customers and clients that you know are doing well with you and your service and are happy. Because otherwise, you really don't, if you don't have to get a negative review, you don't want to get one. They're not necessary. Yes, it's true. Sometimes seeing a negative review on a business says, there's some authenticity to that. No one's perfect. And it is true. That can add a little bit of authenticity. However, it just isn't necessary to have negative reviews. It's not. And even if you have a 4-star, a 3-star, when you get down in those 1 and 2 stars, that's generally speaking, someone had a really bad day and they're leaving a review. I've seen practices, for example, dental practices with a similar name and a different state actually receive a review from a client that's non-existent to that practice. That can happen too, like cross reviewing from clients. So it's very important that you're proactive and on the offensive per se about getting reviews. You're asking for them, you're requesting them, and you're doing it in such a way that nudges that client in a well-mannered way that gets them to respond and leave a review. And you can do that by email, you can do that by text messaging, you can do that by a phone call if you have that type of relationship with your client. So there's a whole bunch of different ways you can do that. Generally speaking too, on the other side of reviews, there's also the management of reviews, which is also equally important. And what I mean by that is when someone leaves a review, a nice positive review, or even a not so great review, you always want to respond to that review publicly. That gives you an opportunity to show the face of the practice, to show how you guys deal with things in a professional way, particularly if it's a negative review, how you respond to it, or correct it if it's completely out of line. And for example, if the client wasn't even one of your patients, in setting the record straight. Getting reviews removed from Google can be very difficult, or Facebook or Yelp. Any of those platforms can be very tricky to get rid of them if they don't really violate their terms and conditions. So if somebody leaves a long-winded review that's really negative and really bad, it doesn't mean Google's going to get rid of it, or it doesn't mean Facebook's going to get rid of it. So you can respond to that review in such a way to take up all the points and make it publicly known as you would would be done in a press conference per se. So at least other potential clients can read and see how you deal with that situation. So that can add to some credibility, and it establishes trust. Even if it hurts you a little bit, it's not going to turn away everybody, because most people know that no business is perfect, and sometimes, those types of things happen, particularly when you're treating hundreds of people a month. That is, pretty tremendous volume, that can accumulate, in terms of reviews. So anyway, so that's in a nutshell, leaving reviews. It's very important. Again, the points are, you have to ask for them. You can have you can have signs in your office. You can have cutout papers in your office, little cards that you hand out to people, all things like that. Show them exactly where to go. It is important that you make the instructions very simple. It is best if you can just send a text message through your internal management software, your customer relationship software. Send a text message to the client right after the appointment, or even when they're right in the office and they're on their phone, and you can ask them, would you like to leave us a review? And they say sure, and you can shoot them a text message with that link. They can go directly to choose what profile they want to leave a review on. Now, I'm oversimplifying this a little bit, because different systems, for example, the way we develop our systems for our clients, we give them options to choose the review profiles their clients can leave a review on. Because not every client, for example, has a Yelp account. Not every client necessarily wants to log into Facebook. Most people have a Gmail or Google connected account that they can log into and leave a review. So it all depends on the person's preference too, but you don't want to turn away a good review, even if it's on Yelp or even if it's on Facebook and not your primary Google review source, for example. So all reviews count, and consumers today, even when given referrals, will go and do research. The younger family, we've studied this, we've researched this, we've surveyed this. Younger families, even when they're given a referral by a mother, a father, or a brother or family, they'll generally go online and research and look up the practice name. They'll look up the dentist. They'll do more research and see if it's a good fit for them before they reach out. So that's all important things to keep in mind. I hope this podcast was helpful today. And of course, if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to email me directly, jason@w3developing.com. Be happy to answer your questions. Again, this podcast was specifically for dental practices and the way to attain reviews and some tips. Thanks for listening.